Alrighty, we're back. Thanks for staying with us. Planet Green Juice, call numbers 1-347-326-9626. We got exactly 1 hour and 28 minutes left, and I think we're going to go to Rick. I think we're going to have him do the news. And I think we got Curtis Kyle on the line. Curtis, stay with us. We're going to run through the news with Rick now if we can. And before we do, I just want to remind everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
And with that, we have Rick Thompson.
I should have that intro every time. I love that. Thank you, Michael.
I did that just for you last week, you know.
Woo, that's great. Hey, listen, this is the news. It's June 27, 2013. I'm Rick Thompson. The U.S. Conference of Mayors, which represent 1,309 U.S. cities with a population of 30,000 or more, unanimously approved a resolution on Monday calling the feds to end their wasteful 70-year war on Americans who use marijuana and let states and cities implement new solutions to controlling the drug. Spontaneous applause. We don't normally get that. That's great. Must be a good story then. The Conference of Mayors notes that 22 million marijuana arrests have occurred in the U.S. since '65, including 757,000 arrests in 2011 alone. Marijuana law has criminalized 42% of Americans who've used marijuana, including over 18 million people who admit having used it within the past month. The resolution reads, states and localities should be able to set whatever marijuana policies work best to improve the public and safety and health of their communities, and the United States Conference of Mayors believe that federal laws, including the Controlled Substance Act, should be amended to explicitly allow states to set their own marijuana policies without federal interference. And until such time as federal law is changed, the United States Conference of Mayors urges the President of the United States to re-examine the priorities of federal agencies to prevent the expenditure of resources on actions that undermine the duly enacted marijuana laws of states. I love that story. Jackson medical marijuana advocates will have to wait until August to find out what the city has in store for them because the Jackson City Council postponed a vote on the new marijuana ordinance until August 13th after a number of area residents voiced their concerns. The draft ordinance, which was first read June 11th, allows for patients and caregivers to grow and use medical marijuana within their Jackson home, but only in 20% of the floor area in a home. Jackson resident and medical marijuana card holder Stacy Johnson took issue Tuesday. You don't go around telling people they can drink or take their pain pills in 20% of their homes. She said it doesn't make any sense. Many marijuana advocates that are friends of this show were at that particular hearing to voice their opinion, and that's why it got stopped. New Jersey state lawmakers have passed legislation to make it easier for minors to receive medical marijuana, which sets the stage for a potential showdown with Governor Chris Christie, who's a Republican. The Democratic-controlled state assembly signed off on legislation that puts the number of doctor approvals that minors need for access on par with the requirement for adults. In addition, edible forms of medical marijuana would become available to make it easier for children to use the drug. The bill had previously passed in the Democratic-controlled Senate and now heads to Christie, who has expressed concerns about it. Now, this legislation received bipartisan support in both legislative chambers. Listen to this quote. "We have to trust families that are working with their doctors and trying to help their children," State Assemblywoman Linda Stender said. That's the attitude that we need out of our legislators. And the big story, of course, police with search warrants raided 3 medical marijuana dispensaries in Springfield, alleging they were violating Michigan law. About 10:45 a.m., Michigan State Police troopers and undercover drug officers drove into the parking lot of the Pharmacy and also at the Southwest Compassion Care Center and also at Happy Days. Officers also went to a home in Kalamazoo County and also one in Berry County, where owners or managers of the Pharmacy lived. There are several unique things about this particular raid. Listen to some of the things that were said in newspapers. They had 6 search warrants, which they served on the city of Springfield and Edgington, seeking documents about the licenses and financial records issued and kept. That's not typical for a dispensary raid. The raids were part of an investigation begun in 2012 because all 3 were operating outside the scope of the marijuana law. Prosecutor David Gilbert had sent them cease and desist orders. But there's also a couple of other interesting things about this. There were, in the homes of the 2 owners of the Pharmacy, 7 handguns, 57,000 rounds of ammunition, and 21 improvised explosive devices.
Let me just, for the sake of...
That's just what the newspapers are reporting.
I just want to throw in the word allegedly because
allegedly.
they will abuse that, and the police love to pile that stuff on and are oftentimes inaccurate. Sometimes they're accurate, but let's... these are just words, no proofs.
Nope, that's true. The Michigan State Police bomb squad did remove some items from the home, which may lend some credibility to that statement. However, we don't know anything about this, and the one thing we have to be sure of is not to trust this news source when it comes from the people that are busting us. There's also mention in this of the computer crimes unit from the Michigan State Police being involved. From the troopers with undercover officers from units in Jackson and Allegan, and from the computer crimes unit assisted in the raids. Having a computer crimes unit assist in the raid of a medical marijuana facility puts me in a nervous position because of all of the registrations and all the information potentially they could have. And that is the news for the 27th of June, 2013.